All right. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Kakwadash. Second, I want to give double honor to Apostles Jim and Sir Rudolph Well, our beloved elders and teachers, and peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. That consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanic, Native Americans, and so what is it? Bear with me. Tired as hell. Um, to the Israelite foreigner, Salaki. Got an article real quick. Not going to be too long on this lesson here. Lord's will, we'll try to do another lesson following this one. And as the title says, E's crashing out. So I came with my headline, family of 4 dead in a parent murder suicide on the same day of son's high school graduation. Now, this is going to be, be circumspect, beware. That good old nice spirit, basically saying hi to everybody, good morning, and, long conversations and trying to figure people out and, just people just basically, how you say it, that good old boy spirit, you better be very circumspect. Good times are getting worse, people losing their jobs, the left wing, the right wing. People are confused. This is the reason why they call America Babylon the Great, which means confusion. Everybody's confused. Don't nobody know their right hand from their left. But really, the vision is ceased. Let me get that real quick. Proverbs 29 and 18, where there is no vision, the people perish. And what you see here, so-called constitution and an American empire, a country where laws are constantly changing, things are constantly, hope is being given to you, but there is no hope. You was able to so-called buy a house, buy a car, the American dream, get a nice little job, but things are turning for the worse. Like the scripture says in Revelation, he spoke as a dragon, the horns of 2. So I always butcher it. The 2 horns, the left wing and the right wing, Democrat and Republicans. They play both sides. They play both angles. They have new speak. They lie to you. And at the same time, they set snares and traps. Things are constantly changing. Esau promised the people many visions and given a lot of hopes, but never came in intuition, never came to fulfillment. But ultimately, we know through Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, we know that there's a new system being set up. The New World Order, which consists of Revelation 13:16, which is going to be an object that's going to monitor you, is going to be put inside you. And, this system, which, Esau pseudoscience technology, is going to seem as if it's the right thing, and it's going to be real lively in the way to go. And he's going to present it as another opportunity. So Esau is cutting a lot of things down. He's, so-called exposing that he's cleaning things up the old way, which he's going to say pretty much is cankered. And how you say it, pretty much was not working. He's going to come in with a new one, and that new one we ultimately know is going to be a communist takeover. So continuing on, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. And we have this Bible that we go by. We try to meditate on the scriptures, and this is why we're able to sleep good at night. We have the scripture that says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." And basically, let me see something. Let me Fear not. Let me get the scripture. So if I can find it. Isaiah 24:11. Let me see what else is it. Yeah, Isaiah 24:10. No, I'm gonna go back up. Isaiah 24:8. The mirth of Tabret ceases. The 1970s, the Motown era, the James Brown, rock and roll. What is it? Heavy metal, pop era. You had a bunch of genres. From roughly the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now a lot of different genres, a lot of music that came out, but you don't see that anymore. The noise of them that rejoiceth endeth. The joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. Yeah, but people really are ultimately drinking just so they can ease the pain and try to continue on, but they're crashing out, as you saw the title, the headline. I'm not really going to, well, let me see something. I'll read a little bit of it. He's a loser. And, this also goes to, being circumspect as well, because, people are crashing out. People are on edge. People are looking for means to go out. A lot of people are not going to take themselves out. They're looking for a reason to be put out, their misery. So you just had to be, on your P's and Q's, you understanding what's going on. So it's a family of four in Nebraska was found dead following what authorities are calling an apparent murder-suicide. Let me see. Yeah. So on Saturday, May 10th, the Dawson County Sheriff's Office was dispatched to a home at Johnson Lake, Plum Creek Canyon, number 1, at around 9:45 a.m. local time. Authorities found a family of four dead at the scene from fatal knife wounds. So the husband went crazy. After a preliminary investigation, police believe 42-year-old Jeremy Koch killed both of his sons, Hudson, 18, and Asher, 16, and his 41-year-old wife, Bailey, before taking his own life. The NSP also said a knife was discovered at the scene. So that's pretty much all I'm going to read. But, Esau is crashing out. And Esau's not the only one. You have our people as well that's crashing out due to, a lack of vision and a lack of mirth. So it says, the city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up. Yeah, that no man may come in. That good old spirit, the neighborhood thing. The kids all was on the streets playing with each other. You come to my house, we eat. You come to my house, you come to my house. Yeah, stay over my crib. Yeah, sleep over, whatever. That's not happening anymore. There's a crime for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. So you don't really see nothing going on out there in the streets anymore. You don't see the kids out there. You don't see you don't really see women out there. You don't see men out there. You don't see the old people out there. You don't really see anything out there. Unless you really in a hard city like New York, roughly, you somewhat see it, but it's not how even New York is not how it used to be. A lot of people are just inside, or people are they're just their vision is lost. But again, to us, this is beautiful because shows you what times that we're in. Let me see. Yeah, joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. Let me see. Let me see if I can get this one. Isaiah 19:14, the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err and every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. And how is that? Read Isaiah 47, talking about the witchcraft and the sorceries that Esau have intermingled amongst the people. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Hey, Shalom, to the Akim right here. GMS tells a Dakia Banya Howard a 144K. But read this right here, Matthew 24:12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Yeah, a lot of people are very cold-hearted now. Women are evil as hell. Women are mean as hell. Women are not delightful anymore. I know here in Virginia, it's pretty much a cold spirit now. People don't hold the doors and I remember even growing up in Puerto Rico, that old luck, oneness of the so-called Puerto Ricans on the island of Puerto Rico, it has become very cold. And I saw that one time it was very, everybody was together. It was nice. Everybody was outside more so. Everybody took care of each other, etc. But now, nah, it doesn't work like that. And it has trickled also here to the States. I mean, it was here, but you get what I'm saying. At one time, it was like a neighborhood feeling. You can go to your neighbor's crib. You knew your neighbor. Your parents somewhat knew your next door neighbor, etc. It was a little community thing going on. But now, nah, basketball courts are not thriving like they used to. Soccer fields aren't thriving anymore. Baseball field. I remember all of these things. Baseball was fields were packed. The basketball courts were packed. Even niggas used to play football. Niggas would play football on the streets, in the fields, basketball. Basketball, etc. But you don't see these things anymore. Jake would just be outside. I remember these days. But the love of many shall wax cold. Beautiful precepts, brother Akia. Let me see. So yeah, Isaiah 9:14, the Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So you see, everybody just going every which way. Everybody's mindset is perverse. People still trying to make it, thinking they're getting somewhere, but they're really not. Let me see what this says. Let me hold on real quick. Bear with me. Let me get this Ephesians 5. Let me see where I can start at. A good place. So yeah, let's start with verse 6. Ephesians 5:6. Let no man deceive you with vain words, which Esau does, his whole infrastructure. You have your boy Trump in office. It's just going to provide and say sweet little nothings to you. And how you say, in a deceiving way to make you really believe in the system. But, it's very funny. This weekend I was with my grandfather's brother, my great uncle. And we was talking. And I say this from time to time. My grandfathers and his brothers, they somewhat reminded me of Jim Brown. And if anybody know who Jim Brown is, I looked up to them men as Jim Brown. I'm not gonna go all into the history, but basically, long story short, we were sitting down. He was kind of somewhat breaking down the history of Richmond, Virginia. He was pretty much saying, when they were in high school, growing up, and he's 76 now. Yeah, I believe 75, 76 now, 75. And he was just talking. He was basically saying, yo, what our people have pretty much lost. So-called blacks have lost it here in America. And one thing that which hurt them drastically is they don't know the history, don't regard it, and don't really give a damn about learning it. And he pretty much went into how 1950s, 1950s, the 60s, and the 70s, here in Richmond, Virginia, you only had, Salaki, you had white-only stores. It was segregated, very segregated. And it's somewhat, I'm not going to say a lot of these, Virginia is somewhat very segregated still to this day. Very much heavy racism prejudice, etc. Very segregated. But long story short, my uncle was telling me how just that was not too long ago, 1960s, man. 1960s, like I said, Jake couldn't go into certain stores. You wouldn't be served in certain places, certain restaurants, the high schools was divided. They were segregated. You had black school, you had white schools, such and so forth. And pretty much he was saying, since our people don't know our history and don't have no regard, and basically like the saying goes, history is going to repeat itself. So saying all this, our people don't understand what the hell's going on. They really believe the so-called white man loves them, cherishes them, is going to give them a dream, going to give them a help and a handout. But when you go again, like I said, it's not a long time ago, 1970 to 60, that's right around the corner. Again, my uncle's 75 and he's still alive. He remembers all of this. And I have a lot of older family. And I'm going to be honest with you, majority of my family, they didn't like Edomites. And I sat down and thinking like, I don't really remember any of my family members on my mom and my dad's side. And they really didn't have too much good to say about Edomites. They dealt with them, they lived around them, but they always say you got to be very careful being around them because all they want to do is they're really wondering how the hell you if you live around them, the main object is they're wondering how the hell your black ass live amongst them and how the hell you able to live amongst them. So, going into Sirach, the 12th chapter on down, starting at the verse 10th verse on down. So, back at Ephesians 5, I'm saying, go back to 6. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahweh upon the children of disobedience. The children of disobedience is our people because, again, we have accepted the vain words which come from Esau. Now, here it is. You have Edomites. This is his land. This is his kingdom. And these niggas are crashing out, burning out, as you see, committing suicide, taking out his own wife, taking out his own children. So how much more when this system collapses, when the shelves go empty? Because like I said, these elites in Amalek, this is what you're about to see happen is going to be constructed. And basically it's going to be a controlled havoc that's going to be set up by the elites. And they're going to use, again, like they said, like the term, no crisis go off to waste. So verse 7, be not ye therefore partakers with them, for Salaki, verse 8, for ye were sometimes darkness, which we were, and now we have woken up. Going back to Baruch, the 4th chapter, through Yahweh Shah. So we are able to see, like the scripture said, blessed are those, Matthew the 5th chapter, and also goes into blessed those whose eyes that can see and ears that can hear. But now are ye light in the Lord, walk as children of the light. So we got to know what times that we're living in. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth. And this is why we stay close to, watching videos, things that's going to keep us in good mental fortitude. We're going to stay amongst the brothers, and we're going to stay amongst pretty much people. You're not going to always be amongst your, brothers or your peers that's, who you're laboring with, but you're going to you're going to surround yourself with men that's you can learn from, so to speak, what I'm saying, and pretty much that has a genuine spirit and not just a man of fucking evil, a bold fellow. Majority of our people are true unbelievers, and they do whatever they feel. Verse 10, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord. In verse 11, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. So again, it's like going into Sirach, I believe the 14th chapter. I might be wrong, but it pretty much goes into what fellowship has the lamb, what fellowship has the wolf, what fellowship does the poor and the rich, etc. For it is a shame to even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. So starting from Amalek, the elites on down, and even to your peers that's here in Babylon. You know, it's a lot of wickedness being done. A lot of people are crashing out. A lot of people have perverse mindsets, which those demons can jump on upon you as well. That's why, again, we're living in those times where there's no new fucking friends, man. You know, even people I know in the world, they're even saying that no new friends. If I don't know you if I haven't known you since, it's a fuck you. And I've been, you know, I agree. I've been in that spirit. If I don't know you, it's a fuck you. And I'm not open to get to know anybody new as well. And how much more you women? We understand here in America, these women have been able to destroy men. They don't like men, and their whole agenda is to take what men have, to live off what men has built, and then live off it, tear it down, and take it from you, and then live life in luxury. Which again, that's another reason why this has happened, is because due to the Amalek and the elites to destroy the family, destroy men, destroy women, destroy children. So everybody's crashing out, man. Like the scripture talks about, when a man doesn't have a wife, roughly paraphrasing, a wife, he goes up and down, gadding abroad. These men are through. The mindset, the mental state of these men are fucking done. And again, as a whole, we live in America, Babylon the Great. You know, we have all nations here. So you have Edomites here, you have Elamites here, you have Ishmael here, you have Hamites here. And none of these people are fucking happy. Like the scriptures goes into Proverbs 29, 1 and 2. And more. So Salaki, it says 14, wherefore he said, awakest thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Yahweh shall give thee light. And only through Yahweh we're able to see what's coming and see what's going on. So again, the more as society goes on, the more we have to be secluded from and stay away from people in this world. And even, you know, watching your own family members. So it says 15, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. 16, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And be not drunk with wine, philosophies wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. So again, watching videos, you know, being there, you know, being communicable, being around, Shalaki. Because again, this is not the time to be the beloved elder from DC. The Elder Monaghan did a great lesson as well about, you know, weird activity and just niggas in general, people, men, women that call themselves being in the truth. And also we understand what happened to one of the beloved brothers in the I believe the West Coast camps, which pretty much got, you know, situation happened, very severe. But you know, Lord's where that brother pulled us through. But overall, this is the time that we're supposed to be circumspect and not pretty much lollygagging. Again, we have our hobbies, we have our means of getting funds, coins, shekels, whatever. And pretty much, you know, we go amongst the places that we dwell. You know, we stay focused, we try to stay in the spirit, we deal with what we got to deal with. You know, if your brother got children, etc. But overall, you know, we just try to stay close to Yahweh Shai as possible. Salaki. I'm going to go ahead and end it, wrap it up. Lord's will, you was edified with this video. With that, say shalom.